Welcome to the Here's the Deal channel. I appreciate you being here. I hate doing these kind of videos because invariably you talk about things that other people need to talk about that refuse to talk about, and you end up looking like a bad guy, and nobody wants to end up looking like a bad guy. So, I understand bad guy and nobody wants to end up. I am not trying to appeal to any kind of audience. I want to speak my truth from my perspective. And if it happens to conflict with your truth from your perspective, then I want to know about it. And that's when we can have a conversation, because that's how true growth happens. When you encounter resistance in your belief and somebody else opposes your belief and seeks to challenge your truth and offers a little bit of critical thinking, then you can have hopefully a productive conversation. I want to speak to people who love the thin blue line. I want to talk to people who are in the middle of the road on the thin blue line. And I want to talk to people who are on the other side and maybe not liking the thin blue line so much, or even hating the thin blue line. And believe me, there's a lot to hate, because they spend their lives collecting revenue, harassing, imprisoning, kidnapping, and caging people who turns out were actually innocent, and they don't give them a chance. And some of those people have so little of a chance that they don't end up living through the experience, like a Philando Castile or a James Boyd or a Kelly Thomas or a Daniel Shaver or Chase Allen, or, it turns out Karen Garner ended up probably dying from the pain inflicted on her by Austin Hopp and Daria Jalali from the Loveland, Colorado Police Department for absolutely no freaking reason. I mean, they roughed up a 72-year-old grandma with dementia. What do you think they're going to do to you if they get their grubby hands on you? And they were on video camera, guys. They had body cams, they had dash cams. There was Austin Hopp, Daria Jalali, and Sergeant Metzger. All of them had body cams on. And they were also warned. Sergeant Metzger and the other officers were warned by a passing motorist who said, "Man, I don't think you should be treating a woman like that. I wouldn't want to be treated like that." And they continued to do it. And then they took the body cam footage back to the Loveland Police Department and mocked Karen Garner as she sat in a cell with a dislocated shoulder, among other injuries and bruises. And they were just mocking how they just completely overpowered and abused her and knocked her to the ground and treated somebody like nobody should be treated. So my question, that we're going to talk about the death of this officer, this state trooper, Connecticut State Trooper Peltier. And we're going to talk about it. We're going to ask a couple of hard-hitting questions, and we're going to look at the utter insanity of what happened to this guy and the fact that nobody on Fake Stream, CIA infiltrated Operation Mockingbird, MK Ultra Media, or even that I've seen on social media platforms want to talk about. It's this open, I don't know. I called it COP-TROCITY. It's an atrocity. What this cop did, that the cop died, and how the cop died. Because I don't know about you guys, but as far as I see it, in my opinion, the primary function of state troopers in every single state in the United States, their primary function is to generate revenue. It doesn't look like it's to keep the roads safe or to ensure, incredible traffic flow or helping with accidents. Now, not that they don't do that, but we've seen time and time again, they will literally block off an entire interstate when they don't have to. They put lives at risk when they don't have to. First thing that comes into my mind is the Arkansas State Troopers, who excel at pit maneuvers. And it makes me think of that Rodney Dunn, Trooper Rodney Dunn, who thought it was a good idea to conduct a pit maneuver on a pregnant woman for a mild traffic infraction when she had her hazard lights on. She just couldn't pull over safely because there are concrete barriers on both sides of her. The trooper thought it was a great idea to do a pit maneuver. She ends up turning over, rolling over, landing on the top of her vehicle, putting herself and her unborn baby and others on the roadways in mortal jeopardy. This is what we're talking about when we're talking about state troopers. I want to take this from the top. This horrific thing happened to this young trooper, and I want to go over it. And because I love humanity and because I know a lot of you love humanity, maybe we can put a stop to these senseless deaths. My first question is, as we go through this news feed, why did the trooper die? Listen to this.
But meanwhile, a procession is underway for Trooper Aaron Pelletier, his body being taken from the medical examiner's office to his hometown of Southington. Channel 3 Eyewitness News reporter Susan Raff is live in Farmington, where that procession will begin. Susan.
Kara, good afternoon. We are live outside the medical examiner's office here in Farmington. And for the past few minutes, state police and law enforcement from all over the state have been lining up to be a part of this procession.
State police and law enforcement from all over have been lining up. Guess who pays for that? Guess who pays for that procession? And by the way, was there a procession for Daniel Shaver? Let's go to something traffic related. Was there a procession for Chase Allen in Farmington, Utah? No, you don't get a procession, even though you were eliminated unjustly by a gang of cops who are supposed to be protecting and serving. You don't get a procession. But if somebody was conducting a roadside piracy operation and ended up passing away on the job, they get a procession. We get to ignore all of his indiscretions and we get to put him on a pedestal as a freaking saint, almost as a god. Like the police dogs are lining up for this guy. Miles long procession for all these people using taxpayer funded vehicles, and they are all on the clock. Makes you kind of wonder where the crime fighting comes in if they can tie up this much manpower and this many resources.
There was another procession here yesterday, shortly after Trooper Pelletier was killed on the highway.
Listen to why he was killed.
This state is in mourning. These law enforcement officers know very well the risks that they take every day when they go to work. And sadly, Trooper Aaron
when they go to work, and what is the nature of their job? What is the state of their profession? What is their primary function as specifically a state trooper? It is to generate revenue. Generate revenue from who? Americans who are just barely scraping by as it is. They can barely make their car payment. They can barely make their house payment. They can barely keep the utilities on or food on the table. But we're going to have these state troopers in every single state in the union serving and protecting the money out of us. That's what's going on here, and that's not what's being talked about. But there's a COP-TROCITY that's even greater than this, believe it or not.
Pelletier died doing the job that he loved, protecting the roads.
The job he loved.
He pulled over someone along 84. Apparently, the person was not wearing a seatbelt. When Trooper Pelletier was outside talking to the driver, he was struck by the driver of a red pickup truck. We are told at first the pickup truck hit the trooper's cruiser and then hit Trooper Pelletier's shoulder. That driver did not stop. He drove 5 miles up the road and eventually pulled over because police say his vehicle was disabled. He got out of the vehicle and then was taken into custody.
What about the poor person, the poor victim who Trooper Pelletier was victimizing? So Trooper Pelletier was in the process of doing his job, pulling a guy over for what? Because he robbed a bank? Because he shot up a school? Because he shot up a post office? No, he was pulled over because he didn't have a seatbelt on. What everybody is actually consenting to here that love the thin blue line is, hey, it's worth spending a life to pull somebody over who doesn't have a seatbelt on. Yeah, it's for, hey, we got to protect and serve, man. And if it costs lives in the process, well, we'll just have a long procession for him at the end of it. We'll just make sure his pension is funded. We'll set up a GoFundMe. He'll have $2.5 million because of the national outcry, by this evening or tomorrow evening. Pelletier, to keep this in context, Pelletier saw somebody minding their own business, traveling down the interstate system in the United States, where it's the land of the free, home of the brave, choosing not to wear his seatbelt. By the way, if you're not free to not wear your seatbelt, you are not free in America. So Pelletier chooses to intervene in this guy's private life, who's minding his own business, not harming anyone, not threatening anyone, not damaging property, not stealing property. He hasn't just engaged in some highfalutin criminal act. He's just chosen as an American. I'm not wearing my seatbelt today. Not good enough for Pelletier. He's going to pull him over. And because of Pelletier's actions, based on the codes and policies and procedures of the state trooper manual, got to pull this guy over, costs a human being his life, and puts the victim, that's Pelletier, the guy who Pelletier pulled over, in mortal jeopardy. And not only that, puts people who are traveling down the road 60, 70, 80 miles an hour also in jeopardy. Because if, people get lazy when they're driving. They get tired. They doze off. So a lot of Americans, a large percentage of Americans are on prescription drugs driving under that stuff. People are, probably inebriated. There are people texting and they're engaged in distracted driving. Any one of assortment of problems that can happen on the American roadways. It only takes 1 second to just veer off and accidentally hit the back of a patrol vehicle. Now, I'm not saying that happened here, but that has happened a lot. We've reported on it. There are a lot of traffic accidents and fatalities that didn't have to happen. And the only reason they did was because a trooper made a conscious decision to just do his job. I mean, I'm sweating. This is so unjust. I am pissed off that a trooper, a young guy, lost his life because he thought it was a good idea to just follow orders. Hey, if just doing your job is, if what you're doing is evil, if it's contradictory to individual rights, if it violates the Constitution, that probably shouldn't be your job. I mean, if you're a moralist, if you're a moralist who has chosen to do what is right, regardless of what you're told, you can't be a state trooper because there's no way you can enforce these unconstitutional laws. And if there was any unconstitutional law, I would expect most sane people who've got their heads screwed on right to agree with what I'm about to say right here. If you're not free to not wear your seatbelt, you are not free in America. Enforcing a seatbelt law not only has nothing to do with the Constitution, but is actually the opposite of what is written in the Declaration of Independence: life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness. Hey, how I pursue happiness is I don't like to be restrained while I'm traveling down the road. I am not putting my seatbelt on. Well, you're going to get a $150 ticket from Detective Pelletier or any one of a number of state troopers who just decided, hey, I'm just going to do my job. I'm going to pull this guy over and I'm going to put everybody's life on the roadways in jeopardy because I got to follow the policy and generate revenue for the state and make the people that I'm supposed to be protecting and serving a little less rich, a little more poor. That's what we're talking about here. And it's infuriating to have to go over this. And I understand I'm not making friends and influencing people here, because there's a lot of people going, don't you understand that trooper just wanted that guy to be safe? No, that's not what it's about. It's not about safety. Because you understand what Prohibition was all about, right? You understand what the drug war is all about. You understand what the prison industrial complex is all about, right? It's about power and control and money. It is not about keeping Americans safe. It's about filling prisons. It's about increasing the coffers of the military industrial complex. It's about beefing up local, state, and federal law enforcement agencies under the auspices of the war on drugs, which ain't a war on drugs. It's a war on the American people. Same thing with Prohibition. You think they gave a damn that families, there were a lot of people who were drunk, beating their wives and neglecting their children back in the 1920s when they enacted Prohibition in 1920 through 1933. You think it was about that? Oh, the government cares about us so much. Look, they limited alcohol. If the government cares about your health, why haven't they outlawed cigarettes? Why have they never outlawed tobacco products at all? I mean, if there was anybody out there who was convinced that the government was doing something for their health, the one thing that could convince them, the outlaw of tobacco products, and I'm not suggesting that the government do this, because if you're not free to smoke and chew tobacco and give yourself cancer, then you're not free in America. I'm against any kind of prohibition at all. If you're not free to put whatever you want to in your own body, if you're not free to travel down the roadways unmolested, unharassed, and unkidnapped and unfined, then you're not free in America. And it seems like a very simple view to have. There's no complexity involved in that. I will definitely read out the super chats at the end of this. I just don't want to break stride here because there's more stuff that I want to talk about. There is it's no measure of good mental health to be considered well adjusted to a profoundly sick society. And we have a profoundly sick society when nobody can exercise critical thinking and go, wait a second, are you telling me that this young trooper with a wife and kids lost his life because he decided to just follow orders and pull somebody over for wearing a freaking seatbelt? That is utter insanity.
But this is a very tragic day for law enforcement. Trooper Pelletier was young. He was only 34 years old. He had a wife and 2 small children, ages 3 and 5, Zachary and Troy. He loved them both. We are told he had an infectious smile. He truly liked the job that he was doing. He had been a state trooper for the past 9 years.
I welcome trolls. I don't know if Eric's trolling or not, or if he's trying to ask a legitimate question or whatever, but he's saying you are all over the map. The map is just constitutional freedoms. The trooper, Pelletier, and all troopers swore to protect and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, and all the laws of the state, which is extremely contradictory. You can't enforce traffic law and the Constitution. It's either the Constitution or traffic law, because traffic law violates the Constitution. I just knocked my mic down. But yeah, I don't have a problem with Eric being here. The bottom line is wearing a seatbelt is the law. That's what I'm trying to say. The bottom line is, if the law is wear the seatbelt, then we can't have life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. If the law is the seatbelt, then you can't have the right to be secure in your person, to do whatever you want to, as long as it's not harming, threatening to harm, damaging people's property, or stealing people's property. You can do whatever you want to. You can put whatever you want to in your body. You can jump from you can base jump. You can fly a helicopter. Those are all. You can smoke cigarettes and give yourself cancer. You can do whatever. If you are not free to do whatever you want with your own body, you're not free. And if there's a law saying, no, you can't do that with your body, you can't drive down the road without a seatbelt, we have a fundamental problem in America, and it is no longer the land of the free, home of the brave. If you don't want trouble, wear your seatbelt. Well, in a sense, I agree with that. But that's what you do when you live in tyranny. It's like, oh God, the SS just saw me and I don't have my seatbelt on. Or the next time you go out, it's like, oh, I'll go ahead and wear my seatbelt because the SS might see me and then cite me under Hitler's regime. Remember the Reichstag fire decree? All the Germans, not just the Jews, all the Germans lost their rights under the Reichstag fire decree, and they set up their own laws. And if you violated those laws, guess what? You get to go to the gulag. You get to go to the clink. You get to go to the concentration camp. You get to be abused by Hitler's SS soldiers. So yeah, there's no debate here. If you don't want trouble, wear your seatbelt. I wear mine because I think it's the wiser thing to do. It's a safe thing to do. And they can't even tell if I've got a seatbelt on or not because I've got tinted windows, but I wear it anyway because that's the way I do. If I didn't have tinted windows and I didn't think it was going to keep me safe, I would still wear it because I don't want a $150, $225 ticket. So yeah, it's beyond dispute. If you don't want trouble, if you don't want to call attention to yourself, follow their laws. I get it. I'm in agreement with that. The point is that law is a direct violation of individual constitutional Bill of Rights, Declaration of Independence, the formula for freedom, in direct contradiction. So, I understand. I don't know if Eric's being a troll or not, but, I appreciate anybody who comes in that has a different view than me. There's no doubt that wearing the seatbelt in most states is the law. And there's no doubt that in obeying that law, you save yourself from a whole lot of trouble. But there's a caveat with that. And the caveat is this. Do you remember here? Let's see if I can pull it up. Check this out. Cops will lie and say, if you give cops the power to pull you over for not wearing a seatbelt. Let's see. She had a seatbelt. Hopefully this will come up. let's see. It was done by let me just show. Yeah, here we go. I am going to play this and show you that cops will lie. See, if you give cops the power to give you a citation for not wearing a seatbelt, they will lie and say you're not wearing a seatbelt, as is demonstrated in this video right here.
That's from Tigger Maddie's.
Let's see. Let's go right here. This has 16 million views on it. Okay, so the CHP or whatever, the motorcycle cop just pulled a Yui. She's clearly got her seatbelt on, and if she didn't have an interior dash cam, and this is, guys, it's not enough to have a dash cam. It's not enough to record. You need a 3-channel dash cam. I'm not sitting here selling them. I'm just saying it's a good idea to have a rear dash cam, a front-facing dash cam, and a cab-facing dash cam for this reason right here. There's no sound on this right here. But listen to this cop lie.
Are you pulling me over?
Wearing the seatbelt the whole time. Here comes the liar. Listen to what he says.
Miss Maddie's first mistake is instinctively removing her seatbelt without a dash cam to prove that she just removed.
It's actually not a mistake. I'm actually glad she did that. And I wish she wouldn't have pointed out to the cop that she had her seatbelt on, because I would love to have gone to court and say, here you go, judge, check this out. He pulled me over. I was clearly wearing my seatbelt from the time I left the auto parking lot until the time this guy pulled me over. Thought he had me because I took it off after my vehicle was stopped. Frickin' liar. Made it up.
Moved it herself. This action essentially hands an officer reasonable suspicion for the stop on a silver platter. Without evidence, whether or not Miss Maddie was wearing a seatbelt is debatable. And
Otagon says he pulled her over because she's cute. No doubt. I wouldn't doubt that. If you guys missed my last video where the cop locks himself, the San Diego cop, Anthony Hare, who doesn't have any hair, locks himself in the back of his patrol cruiser for over an hour because he wants to get a little bit of goody.
boils down to her word against the officers in court. After being pulled over, it is best to remain still, turn on your interior light, and place your hands on the steering.
I wasn't meaning to talk about this, but I think I'm so glad that Eric asked that question because, well, seatbelt, it's the law. Yep. This is why you don't want power tripping authoritarians to have this kind of law that they can enforce at will, because they'll just enforce it whether you broke it or not. And this happens all the time. I'm going to go over some eye-popping statistics here in a minute. Let's just watch this cop approach the car and lie.
Will until instructed otherwise by the officer. Do not do anything that will aid the officer's suspicions or further justify the stop. Miss Maddie acknowledges her mistake.
I disagree with that. Go ahead. Aid the officer's suspicions. Go ahead. You got it all on video. Don't even tell him you got it on video. Let him continue to lie. Are you sure? I mean, on a scale of 1 to 100, how sure are you that I didn't have my seatbelt on, officer? Just keep on going with it. Here, can I get you on camera saying that?
Mistake to the officer.
I just took my seatbelt off as a habit. Yeah, I just took this off, just so you know. I wasn't driving without this habit. Huh?
That's the reason you're being stopped.
No, I just took it off.
Miss Maddie is attempting to be honest with the officer, but the officer takes advantage of her honesty and considers it an admission of guilt. As noted earlier in the video, the officer passed Miss Maddie going in the opposite direction and could not have had a better view of the seatbelt if that's what he was looking for. It is important to never give an officer more information than is absolutely necessary, and Miss Maddie's quick defense only served to arm the officer with reasonable suspicion. Without her dash cam, Miss Maddie would have no evidence to support her claim, but her nervous and defensive body language could have been used as evidence to justify the officer's suspicion.
I swear to God, it's habit. Yeah. I wasn't speeding.
Oh, man, the reason you're being stopped today because you can have a seatbelt on.
No, I just took it off. I swear to God, I have a camera. I have a camera.
God, I wish she hadn't have said that. I wish she hadn't have said that. Just keep letting the cop lie, man. Just let him stick his feet in it and then just get his leg inside there and then just jump in this whole cesspool of nonsense that he's just created for himself. Just do it. Do it.
I can play it for you because it's habit. When I stop the car and put it in park, I take it off.
Is this your car?
Yeah.
She puts her seatbelt on.
Because my husband owns a dealership.
Okay. So does that mean you can just put dealer tags on any vehicle that you own?
No, we're gonna sell it.
Usually, whenever
Yes.
for a dealer or if they're showing the vehicle,
Yeah.
it's just neither of the.
It's
not neither case right now, correct?
Go fight real crime. The bottom line is this cop lied. The reason he initiated the stop is, like you said, probably because he saw a blonde chick and he wanted to hit on her. And then he made up the story that she wasn't wearing her seatbelt, and it would have been her word against his. He would have hit her up with an expensive, stupid seatbelt law ticket. So there's why you don't want to give cops that kind of power, because they will make stuff up. They always do. And they typically get away with it when you don't have them recorded. Sometimes they get away with it when you do have it recorded.
Years and before that.
We're going to go back to this, but this is exactly what Peltier was pulling this guy over for a seatbelt. And this is exactly why the guy lost his life.
He was with the Department of Correction. So at this point, we are waiting for the procession to begin. All of these cars will be going around a circle. They will be following the hearse outside the medical examiner's office, and they will be taking Trooper Pelletier's body to a funeral home in Southington.
It's truly, truly disgusting.
Now, we are live in Farmington. Susan Raff, Channel 3 Eyewitness News.
Susan, thank you. Certainly a solemn and heartbreaking day as we give you a live look overhead as you can look through drone 3, the route that is being taken for that procession.
Look at
from
these people
Farmington
lining up.
That will begin soon from the medical
all those
examiner's office
resources
to the funeral home.
All that manpower.
Today's procession will end in Trooper Pelletier's hometown of Southington, and that's where Channel 3's Luke Hydash is live now outside the Della Vecchia funeral home, where there is already a big showing of support. Luke, what's happening there?
Yeah, heartbreaking day for who? Heartbreaking day. See, the problem is, yeah, they eliminated one revenue generator, but he's going to be replaced by other revenue generators. They're going to be trained to just follow orders, to just pull people over, because that's just what they're, hey, don't blame me. I'm just doing my job. I'm just following my orders. Yeah, but your job is to do evil. Yeah, but your orders are to economically terrorize people you're supposed to be protecting and serving. Don't you have a problem with that?
You can feel the sadness and the weight of what is about to happen here in the next hour or so here in Trooper Pelletier's hometown. You can already see the mass showing of support.
I want to go to this next video here. They actually, this WTNH News Channel 8 actually did a spotlight on state troopers and highlighted Pelletier in one of their news things about a month or two ago. Watch this.
I'm Ann Nyberg.
I'm Darren Kramer. Glad you're with us today. We want to bring you the latest now on that new information about the man police say was behind the wheel of the truck that killed Trooper First Class Aaron Pelletier. This is the man they are holding today. That is 44-year-old Alex Oyola Sanchez. He lives in Hartford and is facing a laundry.
You know, a lot of people, and I've seen this on posts under videos on news channels. A lot of people are tipping their hat to this guy as a hero who's performed a public service.
List of charges now, including second-degree manslaughter, evading a fatal motor vehicle accident scene, driving under the influence, and driving without a license. State police say after he hit Trooper Pelletier, who had pulled over a driver who wasn't wearing a seatbelt on I-84 in Southington yesterday afternoon, Oyola Sanchez kept going. That red Chevy pickup truck there finally coming to a stop because a tire blew out on I-84.
The right side wheels of the pickup were completely over the dividing line into the shoulder, sideswiped TFC Pelletier's cruiser, and then struck TFC Pelletier in the shoulder while he was speaking with the operator of the vehicle that he had stopped.
While he was speaking with the victim that he had stopped to harass and collect money from and economically terrorize. Let's talk about this. Why isn't anybody saying, if it weren't for our stupid policies, we'd still have our fellow Thin Blue Line member? He would still be here with us, walking among us. A wife would still have her husband. Children would still have their father, and we would have our fellow. We are going to change it. No more pulling people over on the side of the freeway. Not going to do it. This is utter insanity. That's what they should be saying, but they're not. Why? What's the barrier? What keeps them from going across into common sense? What is it? Why won't they? Maybe follow the money. Maybe follow the power. Maybe the dopamine release for the power that they exert against people who are helpless to oppose their power is so great, they don't even consider it. Maybe that's what it is.
Oyola Sanchez being held on $5 million bond today. He is supposed to be arraigned right around now. We are watching. This is file video of the trooper who was killed. Trooper Pelletier was a 9-year vet with the Connecticut State Police. We went on a drive.
9 years. 9 years. I know people are saying, man, why don't you just play the video? Guys, I got things to say. This is a commentary channel. That's why I do these live streams, so we can talk about this stuff, so we can bounce ideas off of each other, and so that we can actually progress as a human society, not regress. This keeps us in regression. We're in a cycle of regression. We're in a cycle of applauding the chains of our own destruction. Oh, go out, bring on the tyranny. This is great. So he's been with the force for 9 years. So he is a 9-year veteran of this trooper outfit in Connecticut. How many people has he economically terrorized? How many people has he personally harmed? How many innocent victims have fallen in his wake? That's what I want to know. Do you want to know some statistics? Annually, just in speeding tickets, local, state, and federal law enforcement agencies have a windfall of 6.2, not million, but $1 billion every single year just in speeding tickets. That's over 112,000 tickets issued every single day at an average of $150 a speeding ticket. 112,000 speeding tickets issued every single year. And studies have already shown that speeding above 55 miles an hour scarcely makes anyone less safe. So this isn't about a safety quota. This is about a profit quota and a profit motive. It has to be profit and power, because the psychopaths who do this, they love power so much, they lust after it so intensely that they are actually putting their lives. Think of the insanity of pulling over. Think about how funny you feel when you have to pull over for a flat tire and everybody else on the side of the road is going 60, 70, 80 miles an hour, and you just want to get out of there as soon as possible. These people live for this. This is like an adrenaline rush for them. They care so little about their lives and so much about power and profit and prestige. And I get a plaque on the wall and I get an attaboy and I'll probably get a promotion later. Profit, power, prestige, and promotion. There you go. Throwing a little bit of, dopamine hit. They love this kind of stuff. They'll even do this to the point of it's like a base jumper or, one of those wind walkers. They'll fall from an airplane without a parachute, and then their buddies will come and they'll put a parachute on him, but his life is in moral jeopardy for about, 17 seconds. That's these guys. They want that dopamine release. They want that serotonin flush in their body, and they want to feel good about what they're doing. And then they lie to themselves and they go home and they tell their wives and their kids at the dinner table how they've saved America from unsafe Americans. Well, nothing could be further from the truth. So my question is, in the last 9 years, how many people has this cop jeopardized as far as their humanity? How many people has he offed? How much revenue has he collected? How many people have gone broke? How many people were unable to put food on their kids' table or pay the electric bill because this guy was on the scene just doing his job? That's what I think about when I see this kind of stuff, because the act itself is utter insanity, in my opinion. Leave it. Let me have your opinion. Is this, maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm the crazy one. Is this insane to you? And then the fact that when it happens and lives like this are lost unnecessarily, I especially feel sorry for the lives and that are lost in the property that's damaged of the victim who was pulled over by the cop. But this is still a human life. And when this happens and they broadcast it on mainstream media, nobody goes, well, the reason that happened is because you, cop and department, put human lives at risk so you could generate revenue and not keep other people safe. It's elementary, my dear Watson. Why can you not see it?
Drive along with him, a ride along not long ago. He leaves behind a wife and 2 young sons.
And at 1 o'clock this afternoon, a procession will begin for the body of Trooper First Class Aaron Pelletier from the medical examiner's office in Farmington to the Della Vecchia Funeral Home in Southington. The route they will be taking is Route 4 to I-84 West to exit 32, Queen Street in Southington, and on to the funeral home. Trooper Pelletier graduated from Southington High School in 2007. This morning at Hawks Landing Golf Course in his town, a moment of silence held for him at the Chuck Drury Memorial.
Man, I love what Cultural Contrarian just said right there. Same story, same uniform, same script, same lives violated. Most don't have the knowledge or courage to navigate tyranny. I agree. Because we've been propagandized by the 15,000-hour propaganda indoctrination program called the public fool system, because people listen to fake stream CIA infiltrated Operation Mockingbird, MK Ultra media, because people, give them bread and circuses. We have bread and circuses. Our version, our modern day bread and circuses is Netflix and Disney and, Amazon Prime. And we can just sit at home and put up our feet at the end of a hard day and just forget about all of our troubles and, immerse ourselves in entertainment. Give them bread and circuses, Voltaire said, and they will, I guarantee it, they will never revolt. They will never speak up in opposition to tyranny as long as you make them feel good about themselves. As long as you give them donuts and bonbons and McDonald's and Burger King, as long as you give them DoorDash and Netflix and Amazon Prime and movie theaters and nice music and fancy gadgets, they're never going to complain. They're never gonna raise up any dust. Never gonna ask any questions.
Memorial Golf Tournament. The event is a fundraiser for Southington football. Pelletier played football for the—
All right, just this one last one. Is this just one last one?
A state trooper is
this is where the
crash.
I think this is where they have that press conference. I may be wrong. Let's see. Let's check it out.
I-84 in Southington. This is video from the procession for Trooper Aaron Pelletier. State police tell News 8 he was on a traffic stop around 2:30 this afternoon on I-84 East, right near exit 31. A passing vehicle hit him and just kept going. Trooper Pelletier was dead at the scene. The driver who hit him is now in police custody.
And take a live look from the crime scene by exit 37 on I-84 in—
yeah, I agree. It's a crime scene. It is truly a crime scene. But the initiation of the original crime was the actual traffic stop. And we've got to say that, guys. We've got to say that loud, and we've got to say it often. It is a crime to interrupt somebody who's not committing a crime and harass them and issue them a citation and steal money from them under a roadside piracy operation we call traffic law. We got to constantly say it. Make this video go viral, because if I was a betting man, I would say that a large percentage of Americans, like the majority, have never considered that traffic law equals roadside piracy and is an open crime against the American people in violation of the Constitution of the United States. And the violators, ironically, are the ones who swore to protect, defend, and uphold the Constitution of the United States. That's the insanity of our reality. People are like, you can't make this stuff up. Yeah, you actually could. But why would you have to? The script is writing itself every single day, just on the public roadways alone, not to mention all the other nonsense like what's going on with former President Donald Trump. There's another crazy thing for you. That is just, I don't want to go off into the weeds. Let's just continue with this.
Farmington, still active at this time. A crime lab vehicle joined the scene about an hour ago, and you can also see the procession there passing through right now to honor Trooper Pelletier.
Police departments and state officials across the state are reacting tonight to the death of this state trooper.
News 8's Brittany Taylor shares the outpouring of support through comments and from those around the state.
Good evening. These tributes are pouring in from right across the state following the death of Trooper First Class Aaron Pelletier. Governor Ned Lamont directing that all U.S. and state flags are lowered to half-staff immediately in honor of Pelletier, adding this is a tragic reminder about the dangers law enforcement face every day when they leave their homes and go to work. Trooper Pelletier served Connecticut with honor, integrity, and commitment, and he embodies the definition of public service. His courage and bravery will never be forgotten. My condolences and prayers go out to his family, friends, brothers, and sisters with Connecticut State Police. And House Republican leader Vincent Candelora also releasing a statement this afternoon saying his heart and thoughts are with the family, friends, and law enforcement colleagues of Trooper Pelletier. Connecticut State Environmental.
Yeah, look what Steve Aru says right here. Dude, I'm from Bristol, Connecticut. Whenever cops are unalived, let's say in Connecticut, the virtue signaling from people is insane. And it truly is. It's like people open the floodgates of the asylums and everybody floods out into the street and with one voice bows down to the thin blue line. It just makes no sense.
Mental Conservation Police.
I mean, it makes sense if you haven't cleansed yourself from the incessant propaganda. I understand why people do it because you have to be empathetic to this. And the further away you get from it, the less you become understanding, which is kind of unfortunate. It's a good and a bad thing at the same time. You want to make sure you maintain some semblance of, or some, not a semblance, but more like active empathy. Because if you lose that, then you lose a part of what makes us human and what makes us humans who aren't psychopaths. See, that's the problem with psychopaths. They don't have empathy. They can't, they lack the ability to put themselves in someone else's shoes. They lack the ability to consider the golden rule. Hey, I wouldn't want this done to me, so I better not do this. No, I better not. I'm just not. I don't have any desire to do that to somebody else. Wouldn't want that done to me or anybody that I love. So yeah, the virtue signaling is insane. It is over the top. Brainwashed Stockholm syndrome, says Rob B. It's exactly what it is. It's when you develop this deep sense of admiration for your captors. And it goes back to Stockholm, Sweden, where there was this bank robbery and people were held up for a long time and kidnapped. And the people who were the victims of the robbers started, basically defending their captors. Saying, hey, these guys aren't so bad. They're okay. It's hey, I kind of like this tier. Oh, wow. These chains aren't so uncomfortable after all. Wow, I like this.
Their thoughts and prayers, and Vernon Police extending their deepest sympathies to state police. Brookfield Volunteer Fire sending their sincerest condolences for Trooper Pelletier killed in the line of duty. They are asking for people to pray for everyone who has been impacted by this tragedy.
Is that true? The Connecticut Police Union gave the family $900,000? Huh. We'll take a look at that.
And as more reaction pours in, we'll continue to share that
just say
with
that
you
and I
on
missed
air
it.
and on our website, WTNH.com. Brittany Taylor, News 8.
Look at
All right,
that.
here's a live look at the scene. There you see the procession. This is made up of state troopers and police officers really from all
saluting
over.
like
They
we're in
come
the
to be a part of
military.
this procession. The body of Trooper Pelletier will be taken to the medical
Thoughts and prayers to the plundered, says Alan.
examiner's office. And over to the right, you see that truck that was pulled over, and they believe that's the truck responsible.
And of course, these processions are also a part of a paying of respect to the officer who has died in the line of duty this afternoon on a routine traffic stop this afternoon on I-84 in Southington.
And it's interesting to watch this because the troopers will gather. This news spreads pretty quickly. If we can take you back there, let's show you live again the scene. We don't want to leave the scene right now. So if it's still going on,
Can we see that live camera again of the procession?
It actually looks like that, Lazarus. You know, I can't prove it, but it definitely does look like this is some kind of, hey, clowns of America, submit to your masters kind of ritual and ceremony.
Okay, there it is once again. And you're looking live on I-84, and this is where Trooper Pelletier had his last call. He was killed.
Oh, I'm muted? I'm muted? Backer's Mill says I'm muted. Can you guys not hear me? Let me double check. Let me just double check. Backer's Mill says I'm muted. Can you guys? No, I can hear. I don't know what you mean, Backer's Mill.
This afternoon, hit by
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Driver in a truck. We're told that that is the truck to the right of your screen.
Okay, so here's the truck.
Right near that large truck pulled over to the side near the pole, and that it is being investigated. And troopers and state police. From
Have you noticed what they're not mentioning? They're not mentioning the physical state of the victim of the trooper. Why not? Did that guy have to go to the hospital? Was his property damaged, or was it just the trooper that got hurt? Is there body cam footage? Because I want to see what really happened here. Is there dash cam footage? We know the trooper's vehicle, they say, got hit first, and then the trooper got taken out.
All over will come to be a part of this procession. And what they're doing is the lead car is presumably carrying the body of Trooper Pelletier.
And I believe they would be headed to the state medical examiner's office with the trooper's body, and then it would be released to a local funeral home. Sadly, we have seen this play out too much in the past few years.
Yeah, this is really a sisterhood and a brotherhood, and police officers from all across the state will be gathering for this.
They're fostering and fomenting the nonsense and insanity. We've seen this happen so many times over the years. Gosh, we don't know how to stop this. It's like an epidemic. How in the world can we stop this? I mean, we can't stop pulling people over as people are zooming by at 80 miles an hour. I mean, that's not the answer, obviously. So we got to do something else. How do we keep these troopers safe? Hey, how about stop the roadside piracy? That seems like a simple solution. Oh, wait, we can't, because that brings in $6.2 billion every single year just in speeding tickets alone. You think we're going to give up that kind of money? You think lives are worth that much? No way. There's no way we could possibly do this without our roadside piracy operation. All right, let's see. Let's see what else we got here. Is that it? I think that's it. I wanted to talk about, I'm going to make this a standalone video right here. I wanted to talk about this thing that's going on. I've got some opinions on this Trump guilty on all 34 counts things. And you guys know I'm not for Trump. I'm not for Biden. I'm not for the left versus right paradigm lie, which is all nonsense. Every single one of these presidents are figurehead corporate puppets bought and paid for by the banking elite. If you disagree with me, I've got videos where I show this conclusively. How do we know? By the president's actions. There's one particular group of people, there's one particular organization that is always, without fail, protected, enriched, and empowered with every president, no matter if you're talking about Republican or Democrat, Demoplican or Republicrat, as I like to call them. There's one elite group of people who benefits from the corporate figurehead called the President of the United States. And it is a corporate figurehead because, as we know from 28 USC 3002 15A, the United States means federal corporation. So he becomes the corporate figurehead. The president is really not the president. He's the CEO of the United States Federal Corporation. And there's one group that he really, really likes to benefit, besides the military industrial complex, besides the prison industrial complex, besides backing and supporting civil asset forfeiture and red flag laws and being bailed out by Rothschilds Inc. There's one group that always, always, always benefits. I'm 100% wrong on Trump. Then why was he bailed out back in the 1990s when he got underwater by the, for his ill-advised investment called Taj Mahal in Atlantic City, and he was bailed out by Rothschilds Inc. The specific employee who bailed him out was Wilbur Ross. 22 years later, when Trump became president, he made Wilbur Ross what? The Commerce Secretary. And then he made Steve Mnuchin the Treasury Secretary. And then he filled his cabinet with a whole bunch of warmongers and thieves, just like all the presidents do. But Trump's on your side. Brian, you're 100% wrong about Donald Trump. But you won't hear Ben Shapiro talk about this. You won't hear about anybody at the Daily Wire talk about this. You won't hear Glenn Beck talk about this. You won't hear anybody, Russell Brand or any of those people talk about this stuff because it's too hard to get hitting of truth and they don't want to jeopardize their platforms. Yeah, what about warp speed? Come on. It's like, did any other president, as bad as they were, shut down the entire country for the big farm guy industrial complex? So if you want to see me, if you want me to do a live stream on that, I will do a dedicated live stream on that on my Rumble channel. If you want that link, what's the link to my Rumble channel? Let me see. Let me get the link to my Rumble channel. If you want it, put a 1 in the room if you want me to do a video on that. I'll be glad to do a real quick video on it. Because the travesty is that they would dare find Trump guilty on 34 counts of what amounts to voluntary bad bookkeeping to hide investments and indiscretions. I can think of some greater crimes that somebody should be found guilty of and jailed and possibly go to the chair for. Let's see if I can find. What is my Rumble channel? Very few people watch my Rumble channel too, by the way. Because you suck, Brian. You suck. Oh, man. I don't even have my. I thought I had a link to. That's why. Oh, that must be why I'm not getting any. I don't even have a link to my Rumble channel under my videos. I did not know that. Well, that's dumb. View live stream. Let's see. How do I get a link to the Rumble channel? Let me see. Account overview. Stats, my content. Here, what I'll do is I will give you a link to my second to the last video on my Rumble channel. Here's the link right here. It's for partisan hacks and Q-tards, whatever. Social media platforms are for whoever wants to watch that social media platform. Odyssey is run by Twitter? I didn't know that. Wait a second. Are you sure? I know the guy who runs Odyssey, and he's not affiliated at all with former owner Jack Dorsey or current owner Elon Musk. I think you're wrong about that. Odyssey is not run by Twitter. And they were Odyssey was offered a buyout a couple years back, and they refused to do it because they want to be a complete free speech zone. And you can't have that when you're on Twitter. You know, Elon Musk likes to call him a free speech absolutist, but then he bans people from his platform. That's not being a free speech absolutist. A free speech absolutist will say, you know what? I want dangerous freedom over peaceful slavery, and dangerous freedom includes speech that I really, really, really don't like. He heard of the. Let's see. What's up, Virus Untreated? What's up, Back Schmill? Matt, Ransom Shan, Chris Sean. Trump said and did nothing as small businesses were forced closed. People threatened with their jobs for not taking the you know what. Yeah, and he called himself the father of the VAXX on Fox News. Faux news, as I like to call it. You got the Counterfeit News Network. You got ABC, which is always broadcasting crap. NBC is nothing but crap. CNN is, the Clinton News Network or the Counterfeit News Network. And you got faux news. None of them are on your side. None of them. It's so funny. If you don't put a disclaimer at the beginning of your video, like, now let's talk about the evils of Donald Trump. If you don't put before that, now let's talk about how evil Biden is first, and then talk about it. If you don't do that, even when you do that, they call you a partisan hack, even though you are clearly not partisan at all. And I don't even know why people like bipartisan support, because bipartisan support just means you're getting screwed over by both parties simultaneously. So it's all this hocus pocus political dog and pony show smoke screen under the big top is nothing but bread and circuses meant to keep us distracted, deceived, divided, dehumanized, demoralized, and it works so good they never have to change the recipe because there's a fool born every single minute. And if you doubt that, all you have to do is log into the internet. It won't take you 5 minutes to find about 10 or 15 of them. Biden is selling us out to the world. No, he can't. He can't sell us out to the world. We were sold out back in 1913, if you know what I mean. Biden can't sell out what has already been sold out. Trump didn't sell us out to the world. They're just figureheads, guys. They don't make the policies. They act as a figurehead puppet. I'll tell you one thing. I will tell you one thing that I think is happening with this Trump thing. Trump is being used in a way that projects the same thing they projected when they did to Alex Jones, what they did to him, and made him grovel and took him through court cases and charged him $1 gazillion and, you know, in fees and fines and all that kind of stuff. They're just projecting onto you the thing that they're displaying on Alex Jones. In other words, if we can do this to the most famous talk show personality on the planet, in the world, because, you know, this ain't a planet, whatever shape this is, whatever sphere this is, tyranny on flat earth is the same tyranny on globe earth. So when you have this kind of thing going on with Alex Jones and they're projecting it out, they're actually saying, if we did that to Alex Jones, we will do this to you. If we did this to Donald Trump, the former president of the United States, you think we're not going to come after you and do the same thing to you? This is a clear projection propaganda campaign, in my opinion. And you think he's going to see jail for one day? You know what mainstream media was talking about last night? I think it was CBS. CBS was saying, okay, there are a couple options here. Now, they could convict him of these felonies, and he's supposed to receive sentencing on July 11th. So when he gets sentenced, it could be he's facing 4 years for each count, and there's 34 counts. That's a lot of years. He's going to die in prison. If that's the case, he ain't going to jail. They're not going to do that. And if they do it somehow, then they'll have a clone of him going into jail, and he's going to live the rest of his years on some island that was purchased by Jeffrey, you know who. But this is just a projection campaign. So what mainstream media was saying last night is if they convict him and they sentence him, he could get that, or he could get long-term house arrest, or he could be in jail. And if he can still be the president of the United States, he just can't vote for himself in the state of New York. He's lost those fundamental rights and privileges. But if he becomes the president of the United States, he could actually be the president of the United States from jail. They actually said that. Or he could get house arrest for the rest of his life, and he could be the president of the United States under house arrest for the next 4 years. It's just the craziness that we got to deal with coming down from it. And they said it with a straight face. There was no laugh track on that. I wish there would be. Project Bluebeam. There's a comment for you. Yeah, that could be it. That could be it. There's no telling what kind of stuff's going to happen. No telling what they have prepared for us on the horizon with artificial intelligence and all this, and them invading the internet and spying on every single word, every single syllable on our phones, every keystroke from our computers, on our laptops, you name it, man. We are hooked in. Anybody who says, no, I'm off the grid, you are not off the grid. You want to look at something? Look at this. Let's see. There was a manhunt. Where was it? Look at all these videos that I've been watching. Let's see. Oh yeah, is this it? Is this it? No, that's the cop that went through the fence. Look at the technology they have to deploy against us. What was it? Which one? Here, I gotta find it. Where did I see this? You got to see it. I got to end the video with this if I can find it. Let's go to my history. Man, I can't even think off the top of my head what the... Let's see. There's the traffic stop on that. Let's see. Man, I thought I had a tab up, but it was a helicopter. Let me see. I'll find it. Let me find it. I'm not used to Google Chrome, so I don't know how do I get into my history. Let's see if I can get into my history. Ah, man, I can't do it. Let's see. Maybe there's history here. Oh, I found it. I found it. We're not going to play all this because this is an age inappropriate video. It is viewer discretion is advised, but we're not going to play that. I just want to make a point. What they can deploy against you. I have never seen clear FLIR like this. Look at this FLIR. It's high definition FLIR. Look at this. We're not going to watch the whole thing because they end up, pulling the trigger on this guy. But watch this. Watch how clear this is. Let me blow this up or expand this. Let me expand this. I don't want to blow anything up. YouTube algorithms. I'm not trying to do that. I just am expanding a window. Okay, watch this. Have you?
Hey, he's moving too fast.
When I say FLIR, I'm talking about the night imaging. I can't remember what it stands, like thermal imaging. This is night vision from a police helicopter. Just look how clear this is. You'll be able to see the dog. There was something else that I saw in this. I was like, man, I didn't know you could see that from FLIR. That's them on the ground. This is the helicopter tracking them from from the air. Uh-oh, what happened? Look at the high definition. Look at this guy. He thinks nobody can see him. If you're walking around outside at night, even if you don't hear the helicopter, there can be somebody in the air watching you, maybe from a Predator drone from 2 miles away. You'll never, like Obama said, you'll never hear us coming. So they have the audio hooked up on the body cams of the troops on the ground, the military men on the ground going after this guy. And they have it synced with the helicopter.
Hey, he's moving too fast.
Look at this guy. Look.
I don't know.
If there was ever a time where you could say, well, the government can't be watching me because I'm between a house and a fence, ain't nobody watching me. Oh, dude, we got high definition of you walking in between the house and the fence.
I don't know. I don't get turned around, baby.
I think this is just on the other.
You can see the guy's shoelaces.
All right.
Let's get him before he breaks somebody else's house.
Hold on. Let him clear the front.
Maybe he can't even hear the helicopter, or he just thinks the helicopter's in the air because, just helicopters in the air sometimes. And he doesn't even give it a second thought that they're watching his every move.
Here!
Off!
All right, so everybody hold your position.
Look, there he is.
Because if he's going back up there.
All right, give me a lethal cover. I need a lethal. Revere.
Okay.
All right.
Hold on.
Here, but here.
You'll see the dog here in a
Hold
second.
on, watch across.
Watch crossfire. Watch crossfire. Hey.
Somebody got to stay with the can handle.
All right, let's push up.
They got you triangulated. They got you tracked. They got you traced. They got the high definition FLIR camera on you.
Off.
Look,
Off.
there he is. He's walking like he doesn't have a care in the world. Like nobody's watching me. They don't know I'm back here. Maybe if I just hide out and just stay put for a couple hours, they'll just back off. No, dude. They got you every step of the way.
Here.
He's going back west. Anyone, we have.
No, he's back behind this back behind here.
There's the dog. You see the dog in the
Where
top?
is he at where was he at in relation to this detached property just west of the pool?
There's the dog. The dog's coming after him. The dog is now between the fence and the building. Here comes the dog. The dog went by him.
Slowly.
There's the dog.
Move slow.
He's looking for him.
Okay, come on, slow down. Suspect! Get on the
All right, now I'm not going to play this right here because they'll take my video down. They'll make it age inappropriate or something. But man, I mean, talk about some high definition technology launched against the American people. That is alarming. Well, Brian, it wouldn't be alarming if you if you did right, you don't have anything to worry about. I don't want the government to have that kind of power. You know what the answer is to keeping yourself safe? Because we all want to be safe. We all want to be secure. We all want to be relatively assured of the fact that when we go home at night, we won't be attacked in our driveways. When we go to sleep at night, we won't be attacked in our beds. We want to be sure. But the best way to ensure that is to arm yourself, to make sure that you and the people that you love in your household are trained, that you have a plan. If somebody breaks in, there's not going to be crossfire. I'm not going to point my weapon at you down the hall. You're not going to point your weapon at me. Somebody breaks in, here's what we do. But the reason people don't do that is because they rely on the police who are not reliable. When seconds count, police are minutes away, and the national average is 5 to 7 minutes. Think about how much damage an intruder to your house can do in 5 to 7 minutes, let alone 60. Think about what they can do in 30 seconds. It doesn't take a second for you to perish. What do? You have the gun. You have the willpower. You train yourself before that happens. Hopefully it'll never happen, but it quite possibly could, and the cops aren't going to help you at all. So leave your thoughts about this for the world and the global thought, please. I appreciate you guys. Let me just give the shout outs to the Hillsborough Highlight. Says huge respect to you. Thanks for sharing my DMV video. Can I ask you how you found my channel? I do not remember, man. I'm sorry. Sometimes I get recommended stuff. Sometimes, people will send me a post. They'll send me an email. I'll get outreach through Facebook or through Twitter, and I'm not sure, man. But thanks, Hillsborough. Thanks for the super chat. Danny Clank says, "Thank you, Brian, for what you do." Thank you, Danny. Appreciate you. Clown Force says, "Cops give your own ransom note, pay or be kidnapped." And Back Schmill says, "I can't super chat my message. Please find it in the live comment section." I don't know how I'm going to be able to do that. It was kind of going fast. But let's see. I didn't even see. Do you guys put a one in the room if you want me to go over this Trump thing? If you want me to go over Trump, I've got some thoughts on it. It won't really take very long, maybe a 15, 20-minute video. I don't plan on being very long on it, but I think it's an atrocity what they've actually done to him for that. In my opinion, and I put this, you can see it right here. They're talking about jail time for a guy who supposedly committed the crime of falsifying his own business records, guys. I don't care what he did with Storm. I don't care if he did something with Stormy Daniels or not or whatever. It's not my business. It's not your business. It's not Americans' business. It's not the prosecutor's business. Every single president should have been convicted of horrific war crimes as well as the unceasing crimes against the American people. These psychopaths played their part as the figurehead puppets for the banking elite and the military-industrial complex, but they choose to criminalize one man for this? That's atrocious. This is a slap in the face to the tens of the millions of lives the presidents have ruined and destroyed over the decades in the name of the military-industrial complex. And for those who go, well, Trump, that's the good thing about Trump. He wasn't involved in any war. Why don't you check out the Pentagon, some of the Pentagon releases on their own website, and find out how many bombs Trump dropped that you know nothing about, far beyond what Obama did in 8 years and what Bush did combined. One of those years, Trump dropped over 38,000 bombs on various countries in the name of the United States taxpayer. Go figure that one out. Tell me he's not a warmonger like the rest of them. Yeah. F Big Daddy government. All right, guys. Thanks. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel. Hit the subscribe button right now. It really helps out a lot. I don't even know how many likes. How many likes do we have? I don't even know. I didn't even have a page open. How many likes? Let's see. 466. Let's see if we can get up to 500. I appreciate you guys joining. When you hit the like, share this video if you think it's valuable for other people to see. Thank you for all your donations. Thanks to all my Patreon supporters, to all the supporters for Cash App, for the Buy Me a Coffee. Really helps a lot. I really appreciate it. And if you want to grab a shirt, this one right here is Different Animals, Same Shiite. Doesn't matter if it's an elephant or a donkey. They are not here for you. They're there for themselves and for the banking elite. Guys, I appreciate you. Hope you enjoy your weekend. I will see you guys, and I will do this Rumble video probably tomorrow. And my thoughts about Trump and what's going on with Biden and what's going on with the election and where we go as a country. And we'll do that sometime tomorrow, hopefully. I will see you guys in the next heavily censored shadow ban video. Take care.